Hello and welcome to our channel. Welcome to our weekly chat about what's what. I am Kathy, a finance broker who specialises in helping people gain financial security through property. And Tricia is a financial coach and has a mission of family connectedness, creating peace and harmony around the dinner table instead of stress and anxiety due to money worries. We've been friends for many years and we know how to have a chat, and we have opinions on a broad range of topics that will allow us to come back to family, property, home, gardens, Tricia, not me, sport, me, not Tricia, money, entrepreneurial adventures, and so much more. We would love to have a discussion today. There's various things that we want to go through. And in our today's discussions, we're going to have a brief chat about the outcome of the RBA rate last Tuesday and about family values and what's your value from Tricia, talking about financial coaching. And then that will lead on to offset accounts and redraw facilities. Welcome, Tricia. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you for that. We did have a false start before.
Slight hiccup.
But we're right now.
Okay.
All good. You want to catch up on the RBA? Last week we discussed whether the rates would change or not.
Yeah.
Do you want to just recap on that?
Yes. So as we know, the RBA currently meets every Tuesday, except in January. Tuesday of every month, not every Tuesday. Oh my God, that would be just too much. On the first Tuesday of every month, except in January, which, as we said last week, will change next year. So on Tuesday, they decided to keep the cash rate the same at 4.1%, which means no increases for, well, within reason, no increases from the banks round interest rates for home loans. So we had both had that discussion. We both made a prediction that that would be the case. There still is on the horizon the possibility of another interest rate rise in November, and that all comes down to inflation and various other factors in the economy. So
at the moment, unless the banks do an out of sequence increase, we should be right. We should see I've actually seen a few banks decrease some of their rates in the last week or so. So let's see how we go with that. Yeah.
Have you noticed around fixed rates? Very interesting that the fixed rates are starting to come down. So obviously there's a little bit that they're predicting through the back channels. And I found that very interesting that they're starting to think long term as well about certain clients in for a period of time as well. So
Indeed.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, inflation keeps coming down. And hopefully, the belief is by the middle of next year, hopefully rates can start to come back down. We'd love it to be sooner rather than later, just to give all of us some form of relief.
We've all got mortgages, we both have a mortgage. There's some people that don't, but it just will help so many people, particularly going up to Christmas, as we discussed the other day. It's just such a hard time for everyone. Anyway.
All right, so let's get into you, Tricia. We're talking about spending planning, financial coaching, saving money, budgeting, all of those sorts of things. So what have you got for us today?
Yeah, well, we were talking through the week and I just spoke about how I've got this program coming up and it's all about your values and how are you living to your values when it comes to your finances? And you went, hang on, I'm not quite sure about what you're talking about. So I thought we might talk about
what are you saying there, Tricia? Give me a bit more insight into that.
All right, so your values are sort of something that you pick up from family and your community as you grow. And when when you're younger and you form these values, like that 5 to 7 years, right? And then they change as you grow. So at the beginning, you might have personal values that are integrity and freedom and love and family and growth and things like that. There's sort of 4 I like to work around 4 main areas, and it's social, community, business, and personal.
Right.
Right. So you might, in personal, you might find words like integrity, growth, family, love. Business is growth and trustworthiness, professionalism, loyalty, reliability. Cultural are things like traditionalism and tithing and spirituality and family again. Like they all cross over,
Yeah.
but your socials might be things like justice and freedom and respect and community and responsibilities. So it's all, and some of them people would say, if you get right into it, some people might say they're not true values,
Yes.
but they're what I like to use so that I can help people understand what they are. Okay. And there's broad range, like there's hundreds and hundreds of words.
So the values, is it more like a yardstick, or is it more your conscience, or which way are you approaching it?
Yeah, it's sort of more of a yardstick, like I don't break the rules.
Right.
My community or my social values are I don't speed, I don't break the rules, I don't shoplift, all those sorts of things. Then it comes down to family. Family is really strong for me in my values, and freedom. And therefore financial freedom is really strong as well, because if I've got financial freedom,
Yeah.
I've got choice. I've got choice of where I want to live. I've got choice of whether I want to stay in the relationship that I'm in. I've got choice of the schools I can send my kids to. I've got choice of all those things. So financial freedom is really strong with that.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
So
no.
a part of that financial freedom is giving you those choices for you to be able
Correct.
to make the relevant choices rather than feeling trapped. And at times you're more feeling trapped with your financial situation, not due to anything else. It's more about how you're feeling about yourself and, the success that you're feeling around those finances and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's right. And like a lot of people live in a suburb that they're really not very happy with, or the suburb's changed because,
Mm. They
they
don't.
grow or they
Yep.
deteriorate, and some people go, well, we just can't move.
Yes.
Again, are you renting there or living there with a mortgage? But if you've got no assets or financial backing, it's very difficult to move
Yes.
because you don't have that
Yes.
option, and as we know, with mortgages or buying a property, it's not just the property you're buying, you've got then stamp duty. So if you've paid it once and you've got to pay it again, it's really hard to do. Anyway,
Yes.
so I like to work with people to say, what are your values?
Yeah.
And then I work with people as a couple. What are your couple values? And then I like to bring the children in and say, what are your family values? And I try and get people to sit down and create them all together so that they're all on the same page of where they want to go. And you understand then what you're all aiming for. And that's where the values come in for the family.
Yes.
So if we take a step back, my values as an individual might be that I go on an overseas holiday every year, and therefore I spend to that. So when I spend, I might not buy and go online shopping and things like that, because I actually want to put money aside for a cultural experience that I want at the end of the year.
So you're putting a value on that takeaway food that you might have each week, rather than having that takeaway food. You get more value by eating at home, and then that allows you technically, to put that money towards that trip away, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're not consciously spending to your value, then your money just flitters away and you're going, I make this much money and I've got no idea where it's gone.
Yes.
Because if you have a value that you're living towards, or an idea, a wish, and travel and cultural experiences are really high on my list, that I can then go, well, I'm not going to spend here because I really want to go on this trip and this cultural experience. You know, my trip to India was just amazing. And I've
Yeah.
done lots of overseas travel.
Yeah.
So that comes into it. And then when you have a couple values, you know, when you're starting out, you might have to forego an overseas trip every year.
Yeah.
But your couple values might be to buy a home, and
Yeah.
then to buy and then, you know, to have a family, and then to, you know, be grey nomads later on. I'm quite enjoying right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So,
then as a part of that value is obviously you've got the budgeting then that comes into play to allow you to do that. So basically within reason, it would be showing if you're not spending that excess money, then you're going to have those values in place to allow you to do those additional things that you want to do. Right.
yeah, that's right. So,
Starting to get it.
and while some purists might say they're not values, it's also what you're consciously thinking about when you're spending. So
Yeah.
they are values because I really value a holiday. My spirituality loves to go on those things, you know, on a retreat or on a trip away.
Yeah.
So when I bring in the family side of things, I say to them, talk about the kids about what they want as well, because instead of them asking every week for something at the shop or a toy or a lolly or whatever, if they understand and keep it to the age appropriateness, if they go, oh, actually, we want to go to the Gold Coast to the theme parks at the school holidays.
Yeah.
We can do that, but we also need to be able to do it with fun and money to do that. And therefore, let's control what we're spending here. But I'm not being deprived because I have this goal out here. It's really important that you have spending money still.
Yeah.
And that's where the way I work it, it's not a budget, it's a spending plan. And you have an allocation of money that is guilt-free, and you can just go and spend it and have coffee with the girls or buy the kids an ice cream or have a meeting out and have dinner or whatever, but you're not being restricted. So that's where I come from with the values. And does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's basically comes back to you're wanting to get good practices around your budgeting, right? And as you said, as a spender planner, you go through the holistic approach rather than basically you're helping to address people's problems. You know, problems, we wouldn't say they're problems, but well, in some respects it's a problem.
They're habits.
They had bad habits. And if I'm buying takeaway every night of the week, you know, obviously I'm spending a lot of money doing that, whereby that money could be going towards something else. Because we all know if you're eating at home and you're cooking your own meals, it's going to be a hell of a lot less than buying takeaway each night, which could cost you anything from $50, $100, $150, depending on how many people are in your family. Yeah,
that's right. So it's consciously spending.
Yes.
So that you've got, and consciously, so that when you pull out the plastic or your money, you go, is this working to my value? And just taking that pause when, you know, you're in a shop or you're in the cart and you go, oh, should I do this or not?
Yeah.
Take a pause and just think about that for a moment and go, if you have that doubt, walk away.
Yeah. And was for me, I probably wasn't even thinking about it with having takeaway food. How much extra is that? When we're thinking about budgeting, I'm thinking, oh, maybe just kind of cutting back on what I'm spending on clothes or shoes or things like that, rather than looking at it the other way and going, okay, well, by spending $100 on takeaway tonight, I could have had a $10 meal, and there's my extra $90 that I could put away.
Correct. So yeah.
And then are you then suggesting that you put those funds into a separate account so that it's not in your everyday account and things like that, or you put it towards savings or stuff like that?
You mean the money I'm not spending?
The money that you're not spending.
You know, during COVID,
on the back for.
during that horrible 2-year period that we really don't want to talk about.
Yes.
I kept saying my catchphrase was, don't spend what you're not spending.
Yeah.
Because we weren't going out and going to bars and movies and all those sorts of things, but people were spending on
Uber Eats,
online shopping and Uber Eats. And I could go, stop spending what you're not spending. But sorry.
It's so easy to just go click.
Yeah, exactly right. But what my message is, I suppose, consciously think about what you're aiming towards. Yeah. And if you're going, I really want to buy a house, but that's a goal. But it's the emotion behind why you want to buy a house, which you need to click into so that you go, actually, I don't need that. And again, that's where I come down to putting it on the table with your friends instead of saying, let's go to the pub, let's go clubbing, let's do whatever. If you say to your mates, I really can't afford it, I really don't want to spend $150 clubbing this weekend and have a Monday money hangover, a Monday money hangover. Say that when you're tongue-tied. That, say come into my place and we'll get pizzas instead. It'll be a lot cheaper. You might find that your mates go, oh, thank goodness for that, because I really can't afford it either. No,
true.
Put it on the table.
Yeah, very, very true. And the beauty, one of the benefits that I see with this is if you're even got a mortgage and you start putting those additional funds onto the mortgage, then basically you can then offset that against what you owe. So technically you've got a double saving by having money on the mortgage because it's offsetting the interest that you pay on that mortgage as well.
Yeah, and that's getting into the offset account. That's where those things come in play, doesn't it? So an offset account and a redraw, you could put it directly into your mortgage or have it there as an offset.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain a little bit more about the differences between those?
Yeah, so and also too with an offset account. So an offset account is a separate account. So you have your home loan here, you have a mortgage here, and then your home loan here and your mortgage here. They're in both places. No, you have your home loan here and you have an offset account. So an offset account is a separate account that they're linked together, right? So if you say had $10,000 sitting in this offset account, that would reduce the amount of interest that you pay for the month on your home loan. So it's $10,000 that's taken off that. The more you have in this offset account, because you don't have it sitting on the loan, the more you have in this offset account, the less interest you pay for that month on the mortgage. All right. So basically the benefit of that is it's then separate accounts. The other option is a redraw facility, and a redraw facility allows you to you have your mortgage here, you put the extra $10,000 on that mortgage. So say your mortgage is $300,000. If you've got an extra $10,000, you pay interest on $290,000. You can still draw those funds out at any time, but in a way, it's a form of savings. And like what you were talking about, it allows you to make those savings on that account. So and it just negates some interest that you pay on. So it's all about reducing the interest that you pay over the life of the loan. As we know, you have a loan for 30 years, so interest paid on a $300,000 loan is quite substantial. So the idea is we want to pay the least amount of interest that we can on the life of that loan. So by either having it in an offset account or the redraw facility, it's going to reduce that amount. So something for people to be very conscious of. And the key takeaways I get from today is start to think about how you're using your money. Put a value on what you're going to spend. It's basically if you're taking takeaways or whatever, is that a good value for your money? In my head, I don't know, but in my heart, I go, oh, I really want to have that hamburger.
Hey, I absolutely know, like it's a thing that you do consciously go, well, I don't want to do that 3 times this week,
And the flip side of that is you can start to get savings if you don't have a house and you're looking to buy. And the flip coin is you can either then put it onto your mortgage and you actually start to see the benefit of making those particular choices. So, yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, all right.
Awesome chat. Thank you. Well, we wrap it up there. I think we covered it all. As always, everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. Reach out if you have any questions at all. As always, please like and subscribe so that we can get exposed to the community and help other people. It's not about us. The world needs our message, and we really come from the heart space that we want to share it with everyone. So if you look
anything about spending planning, mortgaging, anything, ask them. We're not professionals in the sense of financial planners. We're not giving financial advice or anything like that. We're here to have a chat.
Indeed. All right. Well, take care, Kath, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.